Today I thought I'd do a countdown of the top 5 worst bits of acting advice I've ever heard. Hi, my name is Vincent and I'm a writer and coach for StageMilk, and I'm also an actor. Just like you. We actors get so much advice. Everyone seems to think they know something about what it is to be an actor. So what I thought I'd do today is I'd count down some of the worst acting advice I've ever heard, but also try to translate it for you into some really useful tips. Starting with number 5, worst bit of acting advice ever: favor your good side. Okay, look, I get it. With acting, we are working with a visual medium. We cannot deny this. We understand that aesthetics are an important part of our job. Whether it's on stage or on screen, people are looking at you. Dealing with this whole mess thing happening here is an important part of our process. The concept of favoring your good side is a really bad seed to plant in an actor's head, where we are concentrating on an unnatural and unrealistic performance entirely based on appearance, as opposed to being present in the story, the narrative, and the moment that we're trying to create. Even now, if I'm like, I can't, oh God, can you see that? What is that? Comment below if you can see this hair thing. This is the thing. It's totally distracted me from this. Worst bit of acting advice, number 4. Make bold choices. There's a reason why this one isn't great. The thing about this one is that it's been misinterpreted so many times, because acting is actually about choices. It's just that bold choices, there's such a vagueness to it that it's a little bit like, I don't know what to with the bold. So when they say, make bold choices, do something no one else has ever done, that isn't licensed to come into the audition room and do something really kind of coconuts. So bold choices. All right, what if, just for no reason at all, my character actually has a condition where if I don't wear a noticeable hat, there's a part of my skull that actually just kind of falls off. That's not exactly what they mean when they say make bold choices, because it can end up just being distracting and kind of against the point itself. Let's make a healthy translation now about making bold choices. Just get my reading glasses on. Bold, adjective, not hesitating, courageous and daring, beyond the usual limits of conventional action or thought. Choices, an act or instance of choosing. Selection, options, the right power or opportunity to choose. You don't want to misinterpret this. We're given a lot when we get the script or the role. It's about what we choose to do with the information that we're given, not to be so daring that we're going to throw on something that is not necessary or required for the role itself. Think about it this way. A lot of our job is actually freeing ourselves of the inhibition that might make us look silly, and actually be bold enough to be vulnerable and be willing to perhaps fall in love, to perhaps experience great heartache, and do it over and over again, as if for the first time, for multiple takes or many times a night in the week on stage. That is part of our job requirement. When they say make bold choices, they mean be bold, brave, courageous enough to commit to the choices that would otherwise seem a little bit foolish or make us uncomfortable. Now, of course, a lot of you are sitting there thinking, why should I listen to this guy? He's never looked foolish in his life. But remember, you came here to hear some of the worst acting advice ever. Remember that. And please like and subscribe below. And the countdown continues. Worst acting advice number 3. Shakespeare should be said slowly. To be slow, or not to be slow. This is a very specific one, obviously. We actors pretty much can't escape doing some sort of Shakespeare. It's almost a rite of passage in so many ways. During the production, sometimes there is the technical requirement and sometimes there is a direction to speed it up or slow it down or whatever. But if somebody was to say, well, you really should be doing Shakespeare slowly so that the audience understands what you mean. Not necessarily true. You do Shakespeare the way that the character would be saying the dialogue. And by the way, the character doesn't see it as dialogue, the character is just talking. The fact is, in a modern context, we're talking about a somewhat bygone way of speaking. There's plenty of antiquated words that he uses. It was also written in poetry form, so you're dealing with a lot of elements here that are actually putting a current audience at arm's length in a way. And at the same time, we as the actors, because we don't speak with thys and thous, we tend to approach it and go, I don't know what it's saying. A lot of people start reciting this kind of epic prose and they think that they're doing this sort of Shakespearean acting, but ultimately it becomes nonsensical because you don't know what you're saying, so we don't know what you're saying. Complete works of Shakespeare. Picking a random page. Is there not milking time when you are going to bed? Or kiln hole to whistle off the secrets, clamor your tongues, and not a word more. Beautiful. Boy, did I understand that. The thing is that if you're saying those lines, you gotta go in and figure out what they mean. Because you as that character, you know exactly what you're saying. We as the actor need to load in the feelings based on the experiences that the character is going through at the time. And then we need to use the words to express ourselves and to get what we want. That is why those words are there. If you don't know why you're saying them, then it doesn't matter if they're fast or slow. Nobody's gonna get it. And the countdown continues to the penultimate worst bit of acting advice ever. It's not what you know, it's who you know. How many times have you heard, yeah, I didn't get that audition. It's a bit. Oh no, I understand. It's tough industry, So it's kind of like, I've never done acting ever, not once in my life. Yeah. It's not what you know, it's who you know. Yeah, isn't it? That's true. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome. Listen. Networking is a big part of our job. Because our work is so disjointed and nomadic, consecutive work tends to rely on people working with you once or something like that and trusting you to then leap onto the next. So who you know is important. Putting it in this term of it's not what you know, it's who you know. That is a dangerous doorway to open because it tends to lead to a lot of actors thinking that they don't necessarily need to educate themselves. Why do I need to know anything about the craft if I know the right people to get me the jobs? And look, you can make that gamble if you want, but it is a gamble. It's a big one. Let me rephrase this commonly used and misinterpreted phrase. It is important to know people, but nobody wants to know you if you know nothing. Let's say, for instance, you were in a bar or something like that and you met the head of Marvel and you just go, never been on a set before, don't know anything about acting. Perfect. I wouldn't know a pinter from a pinter beer. That's a joke, but I don't understand it because I don't know anything. So they're gonna love you. Can you give me a job? I don't care that you have no experience and you can't act. I like the cut of your jib, mister. Come and be a superhero. Look, it might happen that way. I can't sit here and say that it won't. If you had a leaky sink and a plumber came up to you and was like, look, I don't know what a pipe is, but I'll try to fix it. Would you really want them to? You want the person who knows exactly what they're doing. You want the person who is a plumbing savant. You need to become an acting savant. Know your business. And why not? If you love it, it's only gonna make you better. Immerse yourself so much in the acting world that you can't help but find the knowledge. So when you do find yourself in the company of these head honchos, because there's a role for which you are being considered, these will be your peers. Empower yourself with education, training, and experience. And trust me, that is going to take you so much further in this industry. And you might even end up enriching yourself with enough experience and know-how to become the person that others want to know. And we've come to number 1 in our countdown of worst bits of acting advice ever. Rehearse in front of the mirror. This kind of harks back to number 5, which is the best side thing. Okay, when I was researching some of the worst acting advice ever, this was one I heard a lot, and I also heard it in conjunction with an actress who was told to rehearse in front of the mirror with a magnifying glass on her mouth so that she could see just how her mouth was moving and then correct it for the film. The basic definition of being an actor is the ability to hone and conjure emotional stakes that are applicable to a narrative within so that they can be translated without. So understandably, somebody could say to you, go and look at your own reflection so that you can control whatever's going on here. That is not a healthy way to approach a scene. It's actually not going to help you release into being present in the scene, which is actually our aim. It's actually crafting a fallacy because in life, we're not looking at ourselves while we're experiencing a breakup or while a loved one is passing away. Depending on what the scene is or what the moment is, the character is not sitting there going, okay, now this is how my eyebrow gets raised. That's what looks better. That's what I'm gonna do. No, the character's not doing that. The character is just experiencing it. More often than not, they're not thinking about how they look. They really aren't. The characters that we play will convey what we're feeling and what we want if we, as the actor, lock in to the conviction of what the character feels and wants. The healthy thing that I would say here is, as actors, we need to be able to self-evaluate and be malleable. If somebody asks you you, can you go and look at yourself in the mirror? The way you actually have to translate that is, okay, some endowment that I've given myself for this character in this scene is not serving the moment as I'm hoping it would, or as whoever has given me this advice is hoping it would. So it's always first inside, and then the outside happens by itself. The truer you feel it here, the truer it will come out here. And believe me, when that happens, people will see it. And chances are it might create quite an emotional response in them as well. You won't need a mirror because you'll feel it. The feeling will be the reflection itself. Feel free to reflect on that. That was a mirror pun. And so we've come to the end of our countdown for worst acting advice ever. At number 5 is favor your good side. Coming in hot and heavy at number 4 was make bold choices. Coming in at number 3 at terrible, terrible acting advice is that Shakespeare should be read out slowly. And coming in number 2, which should be flushed. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And the number 1 worst acting advice ever, the grand prize of Never Listen to Me award, is rehearse in front of the mirror. Thank you so much for buying a seat to the worst acting advice countdown ever. I know you bought the whole seat, but you only needed the edge. Please like and subscribe below for more fun and informative videos. And go and check out the StageMilk website and social media platforms. Just remember, everyone, you're not alone. And I look forward to seeing you next time.